The Bookshop, written by Aldous Huxley. It seemed indeed an unlikely place to find a bookshop. All the other commercial enterprises of the street aimed at purveying the barest necessities to the busy squalor of the quarter.
Trade is good, I inquired.
Better in my grandfather's day, he told me, shaking his head sadly.
We grow progressively more Philistine, I suggested.
It is our cheap press. The ephemeral overwhelms the permanent, the classical.
This journalism, I agreed, or call it rather this piddling quotidianism, is the curse of our age.
Fit only for.
He gesticulated clutchingly with his hands as though seeking the word.
For the fire.
No, for the sewer.
I laughed sympathetically at his passion.
We are delightfully at one in our views. May I look about me a little among your treasures?
Within the shop was a brown twilight, redolent with old leather and the smell of that fine subtle dust that clings to the pages of forgotten books.
I expect you are musical, he said.
Oh yes, I was a little.
Did you ever hear this? You must forgive any defects in its tone. An early Broadwood, Georgian, you know, and has seen a deal of service in 100 years. The ballet music, it's fine. Listen to this.
His bony, rather tremulous hands began suddenly to move with an astonishing nimbleness, and there rose up, faint and tinkling against the roar of the traffic, a gay pirouetting music.
And now for the drinking. Song.
The old man's voice was cracked and shrill, but his enthusiasm made up for any defects in execution. I had never seen anyone so wholeheartedly a reveller.
Versium atasa piena il generoso humor.
The old man's voice was cracked and shrill, but his enthusiasm made up for any defects in execution. I had never seen anyone so wholeheartedly a reveller.
Ours, the valse infernale, he said. That's good.
I looked out through the narrow door. The traffic ceaselessly passed. Men and women hurried along with set faces.
So will you take it? I will let you have it for 5 shillings.
His face wore a look of strained anxiety.
I tell you, I'm sorry to part with it. I get attached to my books, you know, but they always have to go.
Outside, they were beginning to cry the evening papers. A ship sunk. Trenches captured. Somebody's new stirring speech. We looked at one another, the old bookseller and I. In silence, we understood one another without speech. Here were we in particular, and here was the whole of humanity in general, all faced by the hideous triumph of things. In this continued massacre of men, in this old man's enforced sacrifice, matter equally triumphed. And walking homeward through Regent's Park, I too found matter triumphing over me. My book was unconscionably heavy, and I wondered what in the world I should do with a piano score of Robert the Devil when I had got it home. It would only be another thing to weigh me down and hinder me. And at the moment it was very, abominably heavy. I leaned over the railings that ring round the ornamental water, and as unostentatiously as I could, I let the book fall into the bushes.
I often think it would be best not to attempt the solution of the problem of life. Living is hard enough without complicating the process by thinking about it. The wisest thing, perhaps, is to take for granted the wearisome condition of humanity, born under one law, to another bound, and to leave the matter at that, without an attempt to reconcile the incompatibles. Oh, the absurd difficulty of it all. And I have, moreover, wasted 5 shillings, which is serious. You know, in these thin times,